Okay, so today we have Inessa, who was supposed to be part of the living room that took place a few days ago on Sunday, but she was not able to make it, so I decided to just do this one-on-one conversation with her, which we finally made happen after many tries. I think it's just funny how much when things want to get in the way, things really get in the way. Yeah, so but yeah, Inessa is a dear friend of mine whom I've only known her for less than a year, but I think we've had a very memorable time together, and I'm very excited to let her introduce herself and for you all to meet her and to be excited about her work, as I am excited about her work, which I have yet to see, but I know it will be beautiful. So yeah, Inessa, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from, what you're up to, the kind of art that you like to create, and anything else that you feel relevant to add.
Yes, I am. I was born in Kazakhstan and still feel a connection there. But most of my life I was living in Germany, and the last 5 years I was all traveling and exploring myself in different ways. And I found myself now to be very drawn to performance art. I have limited myself a long time to only theater or acting or only writing of scripts, and now I found that I can combine them all very beautifully, and have everything to myself to create from the beginning till the end. And yeah, that's what I do now. And one of my ideas I will present here, which is going to be also performance art based on the writing of mine. For now.
Are you saying that you're gonna perform for us later?
In the main concert, yes, not now. Not now. Still, I don't know. I have the feeling it's so chaotic and it's so spontaneous that I have the feeling it's just building up to something, and once like I'm getting the time for doing it, it's just going to be very juicy. So yeah, not today, but very soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a little bit of context. I met Inessa through a film project where she was the lead actress and I was one of the dancers. And then she became involved in the Metamorfosize concert that I did back in May, which was a lot of fun, but also craziness, a different kind of craziness from now. I think it's even more crazy now. I think her life, like
Definitely.
she's having this conversation with me 4 hours before she needs to go on a ride somewhere. So we're trying to keep it short, and I'm super thankful that she's made this time to have this conversation, which is yeah, so that I can ask her about the theme and let her share some of her thoughts about the theme we have for the concert, which is embracing the shadow. So yeah, Inessa, do you have any specific reflections or thoughts or ideas that you want to share about this theme, what it means to you, or yeah?
Yes. I haven't prepared anything, so I'm just hoping I'm going to keep it short. Um, so I will just start my approach to this topic. I just made like a brainstorm on what comes up to naturally when I'm thinking about the topic that we have this time. And I found myself like the first ideas was the usual, maybe it's not usual, but the general approach, I would say, of embracing the shadow, like the shadow being the like having this dark side of you that needs attention and appreciation as much as the other part, to have a balance. But I kind of got allergic to this approach, because maybe I was just having that too often, and it was kind of worn out. So I had the idea of going a bit deeper and deeper and deeper, and for now I have made this concept that makes me like it. I went inside, and I know exactly that this this shadow is not a separate entity, but it's in the end myself. So I'm going to portray this this thing that I am thinking that this shadow is a complete different part of me, and the this performance art piece is going to be that I'm coming out as the shadow, like I was it all along the whole time, and not like me as a part of me, but it explicitly the shadow of all the people, that it was me all along. So to see the shadow like as a whole thing, as a whole entity, and not just a part that is in everyone, but
You mean like a collective shadow?
yeah, kind of as I said, I should have prepared a bit my words, but
This
what I
is
mean is
fine.
that you're kind of going inside, and then you're looking back at you, and you understand that it was caused by you, because it was you the whole time, um having these natural outcomes. Yeah.
So you're saying that like the collective shadow of everyone being an entity, is that what you're saying? And that the shadow is you?
Yeah, my idea was to blur the borders of this being one thing, and I'm here being this thing, and it influences me the same as the light is influencing me. But rather than we are all a collective shadow and we are all the collective light as one entity. So I want to really blur the borders of this the spiritual approach of like embracing the shadow, but more like seeing yourself as being the shadow. Maybe that makes sense more.
Yeah,
Say it short.
I think the idea that you're projecting is this idea that this shadow thing is not a like we say, it's like a part of us, as though we are split into many parts or something, but in the totality, it's like the totality of us. It's part of the totality of us. I don't know, that it's not separate from us. Is that, I guess, what you're trying to sort of convey? I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm making sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sense of it myself, because I just have this super surreal thing that I wrote down, and I want to express it. So maybe it's good to reflect on it as well a bit, so it's clear. But yes, that it's not that that there are no split personalities or no split thing that are coming and going, but you're going a bit outside, you're losing your boundary, and you are looking back at this boundary, and it has no difference. Anyway, I was trying to feel into it, like how my shadow dark valley is looking like, and how I approach myself, and how do I talk to myself from this place, and just explore it a bit, and have this kind of loop that is taking place all the time. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love that I found this beauty in this dark thing that I thought is totally crazy. That is something that I should not really express, that is belonging to me, that I want to not be part of who I'm seen, because I want to perceive as this and this and that, but I don't want to be perceived as this other way, which is also part of me.
Yeah.
So like this super ugly pain, this ugly thing that makes me write, like this this thing.
That makes
And
you write or write?
writing text.
Writing.
Mm. And yeah, it's totally, in this process, I totally saw that the ugliness is such a big part of creativity, of writing, of having
Yeah.
and to see that as the shadow that brings this ugliness is just amazing, super beautiful.
Yeah, I think you were with me when I had that experience of pain kind of creating an explosion of creativity. I think you sort of witnessed that last year.
Yeah.
So I can totally vouch for what you said. Yeah. And I also resonate with, I think what you're saying is giving me this idea of integration and of transcending, of not attaching a value judgment on this being dark, this being light, this being bad, this being good, shadow and sun kind of thing, like to sort of like to not label these things in this way, and to just like, you are all of it, as you said, to blur the lines, that the dark can be light and the light can be dark. I don't know, it was giving me these thoughts somehow. Yeah. I don't know if I'm making sense once again.
You make sense, Valencia. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in the May concert, I was quite heavily involved in your creative process, in how you are developing your piece. Whereas this time it feels more like I have no idea yet what you're doing, which is exciting in itself. I have no idea what you're gonna create, and so yeah. I'm very curious to see it.
Yeah, it's totally out of my control, and it's yeah, it's exactly what it is about, and I need to, I don't know, I need to be okay with the chaos of it, of this, like, I wanted to be this particular way, but the obstacle or the conditions are just like that, and to have found myself in these conditions with this piece is just the perfect thing. And
Yes.
I need to super be strong to do it. Still in this circumstances. Um,
Yeah. So would you say that in a way this project's theme has played out in your life? Like working with this theme has sort of made you confront your own, whatever you consider to be the shadow? Because I mean, definitely, I think for me it has, but I don't know if you feel like you have experienced the same.
mhm. Um, mm,
Oops. Ah, now you're back. Mhm. Can you hear me?
yes,
Yeah. Did you hear my last question or do I need to repeat that?
yes, I heard your last question. I mean, it's not really that that I was confronted with that. I think it was like I think it was a big release that I put it onto paper. Um, what it means for me and where it is exactly in my life and how does it look like and that it is such a core thing of my life and it's like it's this thing that I'm always waiting for, but also it scares me and it makes me excited and it makes me like put so many things away so I can be free in my creativity and um, to see now that this is happening the whole time to me and it is actually the thing that I fear, but to see that if it's on paper and I wrote it down, it is actually so beautiful. And it's just this maybe this bitter feeling that I have while doing it, that I just need to kind of overcome, like, I don't know, like coffee, like first you drink it, it's all like the first times it's always very like blah. And now you feel like empowered when you are drinking it and feeling like, yeah, that's amazing. And this is kind of how I feel like now, that I wrote it down, that I have this entity and I have this me that is changing with this feeling when this dark thing is evoking, and it's bitter because so many things are coming out, but it's just beautiful in the end to have this empowerment on the paper and a beautiful creation that you can show and others can relate to.
Yeah. For me, it's fascinating that I was doing a workshop on triggers back in May, and that
Yeah.
workshop became a triggering experience. And then this time, the project is about embracing the shadow, and I'm being challenged to face things that I'm afraid of doing as well. Um, yeah, so in a way, it's all, yeah, it was kind of perfect, the alignment of it all.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's kind of beautiful how the universe works in that kind of symmetry. Um, and yeah, sort of confronting each and every one of us to step into what is uncomfortable and scary and exciting, and leaving behind the nest, the comfortable somehow. Yeah. um, so I'm very excited to see what you've written, uh, or at least the distillation of the things you've written into art.
Yeah.
um, and let's see if you have internet even. That is
Yes, let's
also the big
see. But
unknown.
yeah, but I will find someone. I will find something
Yeah,
to do with it.
and it'll be nice to see what you come up with this time, and to um, share that with the world. Yeah. So do you want to add any last things? I'm keeping it short because you need to sleep, but yeah,
Yeah.
do you want to
Yeah.
add anything more before we end? Any other reflections or things you want to share?
Um, I don't think so. My mind is full of this thing that I think like, do you understand what I mean? Like, because I feel like I'm talking about something that is somewhere here, and it's not understood, and I need to just let go of this, like um this kind of neurosis thinking, like, did everybody understand it in there? Like, hello, please. So it's just I said everything that I wanted to say to this topic, because for me it's also, I can talk for hours about it, but I kind of feel also this, like, I don't want to start this spiritual rant about this topic and keep it as personal as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, I said everything.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
don't want
it's
to go too
always
universal.
it's funny how you're. I think we talked a lot about polarities and how the sort of the ways we communicate is different, you know, and like you tend to be, at least in my experience, you tend to be much more succinct and of less words compared to me, but like they're a bit more
Mm,
they're more like hitting right where it needs to hit, but also you tend to feel like you're confusing people or you're confused yourself.
yeah.
um, yeah, so like with words I feel like you're more of a shower than a sayer. In my experience, I feel like you communicate more effectively by showing rather
Mhm.
than with words. And it's always fascinating how often I end up in the company of people who communicates this way, because I'm such a words person. And I think it's teaching also always a lesson for me to learn to be less about the words, you know. um
Yeah,
it's
but it's also your way of communicate to for it's also your way to bringing the message, and I find it always very amazing how you kind of open up and you're talking, and then you open this boundary of like talking, and then like and if the person that is listening is also opening up, you have like this boundaries opening up, and then it's like and like super nice. I like that. I like it so much. I still remember everything, and and so I really, I mean, of course you can explore other ways of bringing the message, but it's surely yours that you're doing now. So
Yeah, it's kind of
good.
like the way I say it, like, you know, I'm a talker, like I can
Mhm.
talk a lot. And I feel like people who are really good listeners, they can appreciate that, because they somehow, like, sometimes I feel like I'm giving people some understanding just by listening to me, even though I don't know what they understand. If it might be
Mhm.
totally different than what I wanted them to understand. um yeah, but that's what happens. We cannot control how other people sort of interpret our message. But I had that realization on the day that night that I spent with you before I left
Mhm.
Berlin. I remember very vividly telling you how, like, you know what, I hate misunderstandings, but I think sometimes they have a place, you know, they have a purpose. I remember that. Like, I remember telling you that, and that was a very profound moment of understanding for me, because I always hated misunderstandings. Like, you know, like, if people are just honest, like, there will be no misunderstandings. But then I sort of came to this moment of, well, if the misunderstanding didn't happen, they wouldn't go through whatever they went through because of that misunderstanding. So I sort of came to that piece of, like, yeah, sometimes they have to happen, and sometimes you have to be misunderstood, and that sucks. But it's yeah. And yeah, a letting go of how other people perceive me was a very big, it's like a subtle but huge moment for me, because I'm always like, if they don't understand me, I need to explain myself better and better so they understand me. But yeah, then I learned, like, I can't control how they choose to see me. So yeah, and I always remember that you are just like this silent but receiving companion, just listening to all the blabberings that I was making that night. But I don't know if I would have said it if you were not there to receive it, you know? So I think that your role as the receiver is just as important, because my words flow much better when the receptor is open, as you mentioned. Like it's the flow is there, you know? Yeah, so thank you for being my receiver.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna hold you up for much longer. Thank you for making the time for this, and I look forward to being able to see whether we can still connect while you're in Poland. And let's see about this art. Maybe if you're free, we can, yeah, connect sometime in the next days. Yeah. Okay. Good night.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
very good
you.
night. I will let you
Yes.
know about the situation as soon as I'm there and I can do it, okay?
Yeah. And I look forward to what you are gonna create.
Same.
Yeah. None of us knows.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
No, I tell you. Bye.
It's a mystery. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Bye.